Thanks a lot for keeping it K24. If you just tuned in, well, karibu sana. My name is Shiko Kaitani. I want to say a big thank you to Anuj Kale for, making a stop over this morning on Up Close and Personal. Definitely looking out for the 88 Nairobi, the tallest building in Africa. That's coming up right next to Kempinski. That's that project that's happening. Definitely all eyes on it. But that being said, this is another edition of Health and Wellness on K24. And ladies, we are the focus of today's discussion, and that's because your contraceptive of choice could be denying you the simple pleasures in life. And that's according to this article that was in the Standard that says that birth control drugs are killing women's sex drive. But beyond that, let's talk about how to make the right choice for you and what the side effects of hormonal contraceptives, including female sexual dysfunction, are. PandiaHealth.com goes on to say that around 80% of all women born after the year 1945 have taken oral contraceptives. So chances this concerns you. Joining me today is the right man for the job. Allow me to welcome Dr. Ignatius Kibe, who is a gynecologist from St. Mary Cottage Hospital, and of course, a friend to the show. Karibu sana, Daktari.
Asante sana.
Good to have you.
It's my pleasure.
A lot of excitement when people heard that Dr. Kibe is coming to the show, because I've been told you hold nothing back.
if one did hold anything back,
yeah,
he's not the right person, because then it's like taking food that has a spice or a pepper, and you are not giving the pepper.
It's true.
So it's very important to speak the truth.
It's good. That's good, because today we want women to know about the choices they are making, whether they are right or whether they are wrong. And by the way, help us in terms of this murky area called contraceptives and, birth control. But let me start off by asking, why do you think it is only women who are at the forefront of family planning? Why don't we have men more involved in this, in your opinion?
Now, first of all, I in fact intended to correct you, because it takes two to a tango. It takes two to enjoy and not to enjoy. It takes two to conceive and not to conceive. So we are inviting men also, because I have a bone to crack with the men, because it should not be one-sided. When a lady and her husband or her lover are looking, for example, for a baby or pleasure, or both, it's very important that they get co-joined. And in fact, the biggest problems that we are facing today is because the man is aloof. He keeps himself away. Now, to answer your question, most of the research that has been done is done by men. And by nature, that character of man, not to want responsibility. I'm one of them.
Okay. Yes. But
they don't want this issue that they go down, that their libido goes down for contraception, or that men are so chauvinistic, shall we call it, that they do research that is geared to women. And you'll find in men there are only two prominent types of contraception. One of them is vasectomy, where we cut the vas deferens and make the man not transport ready nguvu za kiume, and the other one is the CD, and that's about it all. Recently they started studying a certain tablet that makes a man enjoy sex.
I saw that.
and yet don't have sufficient of
Okay, but even when we come and talk about female sexual dysfunction, rarely talked about, and that's because, the idea of women actually struggling with low libido is almost unheard of. When we talk about sexual dysfunction, it's usually in our male counterparts. So do you see a lot of these cases?
A lot of them, yes. There are very many women who are suffering without bitterness, without shouting, without telling anybody. And very few, who have the courage come out and tell me, in particular, and virtually all those that are, elitist. They go and say, yes, Daktari, there is something wrong with me. I cannot enjoy anymore.
Yeah.
I am only a sidekick of the whole thing. And some of them will come and even tell me, Daktari, what is this issue? I'm drying up in the act.
Yeah.
And there are explanations to this. And probably that's why I would say your topic is topical, is right in time. Because it's very important for women to know it is true, absolutely true, that many contraceptive, both devices and the parenterals, the injectables, and the tablets, and what you call the pill is an advanced tablet. All of them have effect, which start from the hypothalamus, a portion in the head, which is responsible for pleasure. That is responsible for releasing the hormones of reproduction. There is also another organ right above the kidney that releases a hormone called cortisol. And there are several hormones that are involved.
Right.
The most important one that makes women not enjoy is a small gland that is in their private parts.
Okay.
Many women don't know that they have a certain gland. It is called Baffling Gland. It is right at the entrance of the private part. What we call, with due respect, and this morning we call it at the lips. Just inside the lips, right inside, there is in the muscle of the lips, there is the greater vestibular gland, also called the Baffling gland. Now, this gland is responsible for one, make her wet, slippery, and enjoy. You know, it excites them. And some women have copious release of the Baffling fluid. Some don't at all. And some, kidogo kidogo. Some will even wet their bed sheets, you know, with this fluid. Some, absolutely nothing. All this is affected. The whole process is affected by family planning, especially levonorgestrel-based family planning pills.
All right. So this is actually, done by your colleagues from the Aga Khan University Hospital, Nairobi.
Yes.
And this report actually came out from the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology.
Yes.
So your take on this, because they say very strong association between the use of hormonal contraceptives and low libido. What this comes out across is simply stay away from hormonal contraceptives.
I agree with them.
Really?
Although I have not read the article, and I wasn't, in the team, I absolutely agree with them.
Okay, so you feel that ladies should be staying away from
hormonal contraception, and especially, they have more than 200 registered hormonal contraceptives.
Oh wow!
What the very bad happening in this country is that somebody poured a lot of wrong hormonal contraceptives called the E-pill, the morning after pill.
Right.
Some people call it the P2. And it destroyed most of the women. Why? Now, what happened? What happened is that there is this hormone that reverses femininity. So the whole system, your whole system is reversed. We are talking about a woman being juicy, let me use that word, it's not a bad word. A woman being happy, a woman, being bling bling, a woman being the participant in the act. Now, this high levels of that hormone called levonorgestrel came in as a P2, came in as the emergency pill, and that very word emergency, cancels the whole thing, because sex is not about an emergency. It's something that is enjoyable. It's something that God created for procreation, and God created for pleasure, and for bringing people together. So it is not an emergency. So when you take something called emergency pill, you're asking yourself, what is this emergency that is in my bedroom?
Speaking about emergency pills, I think we'll probably talk about it towards the end in terms of the regulation and what you think should happen. But when we talk about contraceptives, let's walk us through the most common ones that women are using today and why they seem to prefer them.
Well, there are, like, that one that we just mentioned is not even a contraceptive pill. That's why it's an emergency pill. Now, it is very commonly used. There is also the daily pill.
Yeah.
The likes of microgynons, the femiplans, you know, the daily pill.
Yes.
There is the injectable, or is it an implant under the skin? That is the one that I talked about, a mixture of hormones. Top among them is levonorgestrel that I mentioned, and then there is progesterone, several hormones. And then there is the 3 monthly Depo-Provera. So all of them, the most important thing for ladies and you men is to ask yourself and ask the person who is delivering this to you, what is the mechanism of action? How is it going to work in my body? And the minute you learn that it's going to reverse hormones, they are the good hormones, FSH, LH, estrogens, progesterones, is going to reverse, practically reverse the effects of womanhood. Before I forget, let me warn young girls below 16, if they indulge or do any of the ones that I've mentioned, the pill, if they do the implant, if they do the 3 monthly, they even risk not developing the secondary sexual characteristics. Their breasts will be small. Their private parts will be smaller than usual, because these hormones are responsible for that. And this will now explain why even the libido will be low. The uterus will be smaller than normal. These days we are getting very many girls with what we call juvenile or agencies of the uterine cavity. Their fallopian tubes will be shorter.
Wow.
Quite often we get the ovaries not being malfunctional. You know, the ovaries do not produce sufficient of eggs. Why? Because these hormones reverse the natural process of womanhood.
Okay. Hold that thought, because we actually want to rope in our audience at this particular point and ask you your thoughts on today's discussion. In fact, we have the question of the day to you, and it's going to be up on your screen. There you go. Would you still use hormonal contraceptives despite the contradicting information that's out there? Would you still go ahead and say, you know what, unfortunately for me, hormonal is the way to go? Why don't you let us know, ladies, your thoughts? And of course, gentlemen, please weigh in on this. Even share with us some of those experiences that you've come across in regards to how, you know, your lady is handling, of course, her family planning. And of course, those numbers at the bottom of your screen, if you prefer to call us, we would love to hear from you. If you actually want to contribute via our social media pages at K24 TV is how you can catch us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on Twitter. We'll definitely be looking out. Dr. back to you.
Anytime.
Now, because you've brought up a very interesting point, that now we've got teenagers as young as even 10 sexually active. As a parent, I'm thinking, okay, where do I begin? Because what am I telling my girl now? And how can I help them?
Now, first of all, is in virtually in our country, most of us have gone past Form 4. So they have heard about the secondary sexual characteristics. So when you intimidate hormones like progesterones, like estrogens, these are the hormones that contribute to making the woman a woman, that beautiful creature intended by God to procreate and to bring peace. But with these tablets, one of the biggest side effects is even growing beard. You'll start noticing very many of our girls are growing a beard, because we are suppressing, by giving these hormones, we are suppressing the female hormone from the central nervous system. I mentioned hypothalamus, it could be a big word, and the pituitary. Once we suppress those two and tell them don't produce female hormones.
Then now we have a problem. Okay. Juma from Kabete is on the line. Let's talk to him for a second, Daktari, and then get back. Juma, good morning.
Hello, Shiko. Good morning.
Morning. Yes.
Asante sana for the discussion.
Okay. Thank you.
Habari ya daktari.
Nzuri sana, Juma.
Now, mine is very simple, and I'm speaking as a man.
Yes.
People must learn people must learn to take care of their own health.
Yes.
As a woman, you need to understand when you medicate yourself, you're destroying your system. Some of this medication will even affect your genetics. Then in future, you look down your bloodline and certain things are going wrong within certain people within your generations, and people start blaming God. And these are self-inflicted maladies. Number two, as a man, you must protect your family. If you want to engage with a lady, understand her needs as you understand your own. There are very many natural methods of contraception. So I'm one person who is totally against medication.
Right.
And as a man, if you cannot take care of that child, then why do you engage with the lady? Let her be. So this issue, we take it very lightly. I'll have fun with somebody tonight, wake up in the morning, pass by a chemist, take a couple of drugs, life is okay. It's very wrong.
It's wrong.
And I think this is something we should sensitize people. I begin as a man, being the man that I am.
Yeah.
Shiko, if I cannot take care of that child, I'll let you go.
Yeah.
But for me to come and mess you for drugs which you buy for 100, 200 shillings, I think it is suicidal.
Right.
And this is something we must discuss, and people must take control of their lives.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Juma. He definitely agrees, and I like his points that he's brought up.
Yes.
That it is people who need to take charge of their health. One thing that now you are seeing, of course, is, like you had said, the Fall Black Plan. Whereby women now are solely relying on the emergency contraceptive and, just leaving things to chance. You're really not being proactive. You've not bothered to go visit a gyna and have that conversation and ask the hard questions.
Absolutely.
What will work for me? Because if you know you're sexually active and you're not bothering, then now what?
Now, I want to comment because Juma has a point. I want to tell our viewers that in a month, a woman can become pregnant for only half a day. All the other 30 days are safe.
Okay.
That means from the time of ovulation to the time when the egg dies, the longest living egg ever known in the world lived for 24 hours. That means the window of pregnancy is very, very small. You only need somebody to explain to you when to abstain that 1 hour. I mean, I beg your pardon, 1 day to abstain.
Right.
Well, if you don't want to abstain, you tell your boyfriend, your husband, whoever it is, you are sick, you have a headache, and then you go past that one, and it's, all the doctors in the world, including in Kenya, know how to calculate that 1 day. That is a point for Juma. Okay. Number two, whom do they ask? This issue of popping pills every minute. Every minute you are popping a pill, which is not professional at all, even headache pills. You must ask yourself, how, and that's why we started, Chico. How is it going to function in my body? What is the mechanism of action? So when they pop pills and put in their mouth and swallow, how does it change the biochemistry in the body? Now, most times, these ladies will have picked the prescription where they go for their hairdo. There are very many doctors all over. You know, some of them atitumia hii ni natural. Hii unatumia kamoja tu kwa mwezi. That is very dangerous. Kwanza, that one which they call natural. And it has been banned by the government several times. And it's also interesting, it is taken home door to door. And that is not a good thing. This fellow is, you don't know the fellow. He brings you something and he says it is, you'll be safe for a month. My friend, towards the end of it all, and this is not because you want to be infertile or subfertile, you'll not get a baby.
Now, let me ask you, when it comes to even all these, like you mentioned them before, P2s, because that's the one, many people commonly used for the emergency pill. Who then is supposed to be regulating this? Because the fact that I can walk into a chemist and I just say, give me P2, and they ask you how many? So
now this brings us to a very interesting topic where we have irresponsibility with the medical personnel.
Right.
Big irresponsibility.
Yeah.
Because most of these contraceptives at certain levels in milligrams, they are controlled by Chapter 244 Kenya law. Cap 244 Kenya law. And that is the one I keep referring to, even to people who practice alternative medicine.
Right.
Go ahead, they work. But are you regulated? Are you following the law? Are you following the Constitution? Are you following the United Nations directives? If you know your product is not registered, and if it is registered, and it is written for prescription only, ask for the prescription.
Number one,
ask this girl, where is your prescription? Which doctor did you see? Where did you explain this? A prescription emanates from a registered doctor a registered pharmacist.
I'll tell you something, Dr. Kibe, why I find that this is so serious is because even in terms of the self-diagnosing, self-prescription,
over the counter,
also you will find that the user doesn't even know the right time to use it.
Absolutely.
So, by the way, someone could be overdoing it.
They overdose, they underdose.
They underdose. So this is where the problem
with the dire
comes in.
consequences. Now, the mechanism of action, I'll keep repeating that until I bore you. That how does it work? When it goes into me and it prevents that pregnancy, how did it prevent? That can only be discussed with a registered medical professional, especially a pharmacist or a doctor, medical doctor. And then this issue of commercialization of practice. But pharmacy has become more of a business than a profession. And I know it's very difficult for somebody to get a qualification in pharmacy. In fact, most pharmacists go to university with higher marks than medical doctors. But when they come to practice, they are dishing these e-pills like tremendous. And it is very unfortunate because they go and mess up the whole system. I said, I dare repeat, one, the woman will stop enjoying sex because the very womanhood has been reversed. The woman has a likelihood of her Baffling glands not releasing the fluid that should lubricate her so that she also may enjoy. The tablet can also interfere with the cortisol hormone, and there are several hormones that are responsible for response. Now, this woman goes through 4 stages in sexuality, and these stages will be crammed into one by family planning, the hormonal contraception. So it's very important. The other side effects, several other side effects, by the way, Shiko. You'll find this hormonal contraception can interferes also with blood flow, what we call the peripheral vascular problems.
So there are even long-term side effects.
Absolutely. Oh, yes, they get deposited in the lipid tissue. Some of them will go and bring about varicose veins. And you find the lady now on the thighs and the back of their knee, they are growing huge pinkish or purplish varicose veins. Now, the danger of varicose veins, and it is precipitated by hormonal family planning methods. Although, of course, there are some people who are predisposed at birth. But we are saying they are made worse. It's just like a cigarette makes cancers worse. Now, here, oral contraception and also the parenteral contraception, the injectables and the implants, they will increase the risks of clots, blood clots. And you know clots are very, very dangerous.
Absolutely.
You'll get those varicose veins on the thighs. You notice they are becoming more and more, and they deposit blood. And this blood, because of staying pooled in one small place, quite often becomes it clots.
Yeah.
And once it clots and it splits and goes to the rest of the body,
Absolutely.
can even end up with a stroke.
Absolutely.
So
Okay.
there are so many, very many
Yeah.
side effects that are made worse or that are generated
Yeah.
by family planning.
Okay.
All these are to be discussed
Yeah.
with a good understanding gynecologist
Yeah.
or even the pharmacist. Let him go into detail and explain, ukitumia hii, when you use this,
Yeah.
expect
This
A,
and
B,
this is-
C, D.
Okay.
The
All
choice
right.
is yours.
Okay, when we get back from the commercial break, then you will be helping us, I believe, make some of those decisions. How do we go about choosing?
Aha.
Because when we did our research with a lot of ladies who we spoke to concerning this particular topic, the number one question is, how do I know what's right for me? So think about that. Let's take a short commercial break. We're going to get back. Of course, Dr. Ignatius Kibe, gynecologist from St. Mary Cottage Hospital, is here with us, talking to us about those hormonal contraceptives. And what we're saying is that, by the way, the choices you're making could have, some side effects, including when it comes to your libido. How is that affecting you? And like Dr. Harry said, there are those long-term effects. So why don't you stick with us? There's definitely more to come. If you've got any more questions to throw in our way, at K24 TV is where you need to be. Keep it tuned.